anyone there? Hello? Hello? I can't seem to find Phil anywhere or the light switch, and it's so dark in here. Oh, come on, where is it? Where is it?
Mandy!
Yeah?
The lights are broken.
I know, it's so dark.
I'm just trying to fix them. Hang on. Oh, no, not that one. Mandy, let's go to a song and we'll come back and I'll sort the lights out.
Okay, let's start with a song.
Play a little bit of guitar and then face your partner. Here we go.
God can do anything, anything at all. God can do anything, anything at all. Nothing is too big for him and nothing is too small. God can do anything, anything
Don't
at
put him
all.
in a box. Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do.
God can do anything, anything at all. God can do anything, anything at all. Nothing is too big for him and nothing is too small. God can do anything, anything at all.
Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do.
God can do anything, anything at all. God can do anything, anything at all. Nothing is too big for him and nothing is too small. God can do anything, anything at all.
Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Really fast.
God can do anything, anything at all. God can do anything, anything at all. Nothing is too big for him and nothing is too small. God can do anything,
Don't put him in
anything
a
at
box.
all.
Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Don't put him in a box. Don't shove him in a corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Give me a hand wave. Yeah, yeah. Bit of guitar to finish. Is there somewhere? And then check this out.
Oh, I suppose you think you're clever singing that fast. That's not fast. This is fast. Don't put him in the box and shove him in the corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Don't put him in the box and shove him in the corner. Don't you limit what he can do. Yeah, yeah. Let's see you beat that then, clever pants.
The lights are back on! Yay! Phil, are you coming?
Yeah, I fixed it.
Well done! Oh, I'm so glad the lights are back on.
Hey!
Hi, thank you for fixing the lights.
It was hard work, I tell you. I got myself a little electric shock.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, your hair is standing up a little bit.
Rude.
Guess what we're doing today, Phil?
Oh, it's part 2.
Part 2 of Joseph.
Yes. We got so far in the story last week, didn't we? I was really excited about the next part of the story. So where did we get to? We got up to the bit. So Joseph is is being sold to Egypt?
Yep. So remember we talked about jealousy a lot last
Oh
week.
yeah,
didn't
with the
we?
brothers, yeah.
Yeah, and we made some gooey
Oh, the slime.
slime.
Yeah.
We talked about how Joseph's brothers were so jealous of him that they did some really awful things, didn't they?
yeah.
And they ended up selling Joseph, and he went to a different country.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out what happened to Joseph
Oh, I'm
today
ready for this.
when he went to that country.
I love this story.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So ready.
So let's jump into the book and see what happens next.
What? Hey, what are we doing here still?
It's time for the second part of the story.
Oh, I thought we'd finished.
No, there's still much more to go.
Oh, okay, great.
So, you know how I was saying that Joseph worked for Potiphar and that he became head of the household?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Potiphar's wife wanted Joseph to sin against God.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She looks really happy about it.
She was a bit nasty. But Joseph refused. So she lied about him. Yeah, to Potiphar. And Potiphar believed her. And so Joseph was sent into prison.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Do you want to see what happened in prison?
Yeah. Oh, it is not very nice in here.
It is not nice. So, whilst he was in prison though, Joseph met 2 of Pharaoh's servants.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the butler and the baker.
Oh.
And each of them had dreams.
Oh, Joseph knows how to decipher dreams.
Joseph does know how to decipher the dreams. So, the baker and the butler told Joseph about their dreams, and God showed Joseph what they meant.
Oh, excellent.
And you know what?
What?
The explanations came true.
Whoa, so God was still using Joseph even though he was in prison?
Even in prison, God was still using Joseph.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happened?
Let's find out. 2 years later.
2 years?
2 years, yeah. Joseph was in jail for 2 whole
Woo!
years.
That is ages.
It is ages. Well, anyway, 2 years later, Pharaoh had 2 troubling dreams.
Right, okay.
So that's Pharaoh there. And the cupbearer, the butler, remembered Joseph and how he'd explained his dreams to him all those years ago.
Okay.
And so he told Pharaoh about Joseph.
Perfect.
Perfect. And so Pharaoh sent for Joseph and told him all about his dreams.
Okay. Right, let's see that. I want to see that bit.
Okay, let's see it. So Pharaoh told Joseph all about his dreams. And God showed Joseph again what the meaning of the dreams were.
Amazing.
It was. And he told him that actually Pharaoh's dreams meant that for 7 years there'll be loads of food in Egypt. And loads of food will grow. And that they need to store up all their food. Because after that 7 years, there's going to be another 7 years where there's going to be no food at all.
No food for 7 years?
No food anywhere in the land.
Oh my goodness.
So in those first 7 years, it was important they stored up all their food, ready for the 7 years that were going to follow.
Okay.
Do you want to see what happens next?
Yeah.
Pharaoh was so impressed by Joseph's wisdom and what he told him about his dreams that he had, that he put Joseph in charge of storing up all the food.
Wow, that sounds like an important job.
It was a very important job, yeah.
Okay.
Joseph was put second in command only to Pharaoh.
Woo!
I know. It's a long way from the prison that Joseph came.
Yeah. So they were then storing up all their food so that then the next 7 years they would still have food.
Exactly.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
And then Joseph gave it out so that they could still eat through the famine.
Brilliant. Okay.
But there's still more. Do you want to see what happened next?
Yeah.
So, Joseph's brothers, remember he had all those brothers that sold him into slavery?
Oh, yeah.
Well, where they were, there was also a famine, so they had no food. So they came to Egypt to try and buy some food from Joseph.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't recognise who Joseph was.
Oh, because he does look different, doesn't
He does
he?
look very different. So they bowed down before him, like in his dreams, remember?
Oh, yeah, the wheat.
Yeah, exactly. So Joseph took the chance and he tested them to see if they had changed. And when he saw they had changed, he told them who he was.
Ah, okay. I bet they were surprised.
They were very surprised. Well, do you want to see what happened?
Yeah.
Well, when the brothers found out who Joseph was, they were scared.
Yeah, I'd be scared. Imagine if you'd hurt someone and then they were then in charge of you.
Well,
My
exactly. Well, Joseph said, "You meant to harm me, but God has used that for good.
Yeah.
So bring all of our family to Egypt. We have plenty to eat."
Ah, so he forgave them and helped them.
He did. And they brought their dad back and all the brothers, and they ate and were safe through the famine.
Awesome. God is so good, and he used Joseph all through those horrible things.
He did. Even in the worst places, God was still with him.
Ah, you're right, this is a good story.
It is a great story. Sadly, it's the end though.
Ah, okay.
Time for us to go.
Okay.
There is a place for me in heaven, a beautiful truth, I can't believe it. This great thing I know, the Savior's on the throne. There's more to this life, it's supernatural.
Go, Joseph, you know what they say. What are you doing?
Strobe lights.
Oh, you
Keep
doing?
singing.
Oh,
Go on.
hang on now, Joseph, you'll make it one day. Go, Joseph, you're doing fine. You and your dream code ahead of your time.
I like it when you're singing and everybody puts their phone lights on. doesn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
That's quite cool, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's really cool. When loads of people do it, and it really lights up the place, and it makes a real difference. Oh, what a story though. Joseph,
Things
just
happened to Joseph.
so many things, and all the time. Sometimes he was up there, and then it was like woof,
Yeah. He really had to trust in God, didn't he?
all the time.
He had to really have his light switched on, didn't he?
Oh, I see what you did there.
He had to really trust in God, even though sometimes really dark and bad things happened that tried to cover up his trust in God.
His
And
light was
his
still
light.
shining,
But he stayed trusting in God,
Wow.
even in the bad times.
and God was still using him.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I guess so to start off with, he's got his brothers who sold him, and he's a
bad.
slave. Yeah.
That was really bad,
Yeah.
horrible time. But he had to really trust in God, didn't he?
And then, but actually, what started to happen was he worked his way up for Potiphar, didn't he?
He did.
And incredibly,
And things,
Potiphar trusted him so much, and so things got really a lot better.
so things got much better, not as dark, but Joseph was still trusting in God.
Yeah. And then it all turns around again when Potiphar's wife lies about him, and he ends up in jail.
Really
Close
bad.
every door to me. You really need to watch this musical. You're missing
Poor
out.
Joseph.
Poor Joseph. So
Very dark time.
yeah,
But look, his light was still shining.
it was. And do you know what?
Still trusting in
And,
God.
and even in those times when he was in prison, do you know what happened? The guards then put him in charge of all the prisoners.
So they sort of saw the light in him, didn't
Yeah.
they? Even in the dark times. So that was kind of like kind of a good thing that happened, even in amongst the bad stuff,
Yeah.
wasn't it? So I'm putting half and half. Can you see that?
Yeah. And then the cupbearer and the baker had dreams, and Joseph interpreted the dreams for them.
So even in that dark time in jail, still,
Yeah.
God's light was with him.
Yeah.
Because he could still have that gift, didn't he? He had that gift of interpreting dreams. So that was his light still shining for God, even in a really dark time.
Yeah, and really, God really used him in those moments as well. And then, of course, it goes a bit quiet, doesn't it? Like, Joseph's a little bit forgotten about. So, it's no.
So he's still sort of sitting there,
Yeah.
trusting in God, isn't
Yeah.
he?
But
Must
then,
have been very hard.
oh, it must have been so hard.
Like it must have, maybe it got even darker for him. I'm going to put 2 layers.
Oh,
Even darker. He was all on his own. See, look, you can still see it. Hopefully you can see that.
Yeah,
You can still see a little bit of light coming through, but it is really hard for him, I think.
yeah, and I guess he must have just thought, God, what am I doing here? Like, what is the purpose in your plan? But he still trusted. And then God came through, didn't he? Then, because the cupbearer told the Pharaoh about Joseph, and when Pharaoh told him said about all his dreams, Joseph was called from prison.
He was out of
It
prison.
was, and the Pharaoh talked about the cows and the oh, you're really missing out. But so the Pharaoh tells Joseph about this dream, and Joseph says, 7 years of bumper crops are on their way, years of plenty, endless wheat and tons of hay.
Oh yeah, the dream.
Yeah. All your farms will bloom, there won't be room to store the surplus food you grow. I better stop. But
You were on a roll.
yeah. But so Joseph then interprets the dream, and
God's light shining through him, even in a better time.
and he saves Egypt and loads of people from a famine that was coming 7 years down the line that Joseph was able to tell everybody about, and he became Pharaoh's number 2, and he became his right hand man. And the only person more powerful than Joseph in Egypt was the Pharaoh.
but God's light was still shining through
shining.
him, and he was still trusting in God, even though that was such a difference from being in jail and being in really, really, really dark times to being Pharaoh's right-hand man. God was still working in him.
Yeah, incredible. And so they have the 7 years of good times, and then the 7 years of famine happen. And
that's when they had no food, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. And then Joseph's brothers turn up. I mean, what was that about? How much Joseph had felt when those brothers came to see him?
I think when Joseph's brothers came to get food from him, he would have remembered how he felt.
Yeah.
He would have remembered feeling like this and feeling like he needed to trust in God in the dark times.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in that time anymore.
No.
He was remembering what it was like, but he was actually in much better times.
Yeah. And actually, what he did was incredible because he forgave his brothers.
He did, didn't he? And that was God.
It can only be God, can't it? Because that is an incredible thing to do. And all through those times, Joseph trusted in God. And how incredible was that? It blows my mind. And do you remember? I can't remember which week was it. We did trust falls. Do you remember?
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
And we talked about how we trust in God and God's. Oh, that was right. God's promises, wasn't it? When we talked about Abraham.
We've talked a lot about that in most of our stories, haven't we?
Oh,
that
yeah.
God keeps his promises and that we need to trust in God. And Joseph did that, didn't
Yeah. And he trusted that God was going to use him, even though at times it felt like he was really in the darkness. But God continued to use him, and Joseph shined his light, didn't he?
Absolutely, he did.
Amazing.
Very cool.
Must have been very weird though, going to Egypt. Joseph must have found that so strange to go to such a foreign land. Would you like to find out a little bit more about Egypt?
Yes.
Do you know what it's time for?
Is it time for Fun Facts with Phil?
It is indeed time for Fun Facts with Phil. Let's go.
Let's find out about Egypt.
Hey guys, hope you're doing well. This week. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Hey guys, that was not an error in editing, just so you know, Hayley and Simon. That was actually just for you. So, welcome to Fun Facts with Phil. This week we're going to be talking about Egypt, as that's where Joseph went. So let's put our 60 seconds up on the board. And in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Most ancient Egyptian pyramids were built as tombs for pharaohs and their families. To date, over 130 pyramids have been discovered in Egypt. The afterlife was incredibly important to the Egyptians. They believed that preserving a dead person's body, which they did through the process of mummification. The pyramids of Khufu at Giza is the largest Egyptian pyramid. This is an incredible structure, weighs as much as 16 Empire State Buildings. Both Egyptian men and women wore makeup. The eye paint was usually green or black, as well as offering protection from the sun. Egyptians believed makeup had magical healing powers too. Unwrapped, the bandages of ancient Egyptian mummies could stretch for 1.6 kilometres. The ancient Egyptian alphabet contained more than 700 hieroglyphs. Ancient Egyptians believed in more than 2,000 gods. They had gods for everything, from dangers to chores. And that is our time. So, I hope you learned something today. I definitely did. So, thanks, and I'll see you next week.
Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 8 verse 28,
We
Romans
know
8 verse
that
28,
in all things
Romans 8
God
verse
works
28,
for good
Romans
with
8
those
verse
who
28,
love
Romans 8 verse
Him.
28,
We
Romans 8
know
verse
that
28,
in all things
Romans 8
God
verse
works for
28,
good
Romans
with
8
those who
verse 28,
love Him.
Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 8 verse 28 to Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 8 verse 28 to Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 8 verse 28 to Romans 8 verse 28, Romans 8 verse 28 to Romans 8 verse 28.
Hi guys, welcome to the prayer corner. It's time to find your comfy space again so we can think about the story and then do some prayers. So, find yourself your space. You want to bring anything that you want to use for prayer time into your space. You can bring any colouring, if you have a prayer there at home, some building, whatever you want to do during prayer time. And if you've got one, find a torch. So I've got mine on my phone. Maybe Mum or Dad will let you borrow theirs. Maybe you have your own phone you can use, or maybe you've got a torch with a button on the bottom that you can use. It just might help you in your prayer time, because we've been talking about how Joseph had his light on for Jesus, and he was trusting in God the whole time, even when it was dark times. So I've got a black t-shirt. Maybe you want to grab a black shirt or a dark piece of material, and you can like do this as well and have a look at the difference between the light like this and the light when it's covered up, and have a think about those times maybe in your life when it's harder to shine for Jesus and the times when it's easier. That little action might help you think about those times. So if you want to do that, go grab it now. But let's get comfy and let's think about some questions. I wonder, how would you feel if you were put in jail like Joseph? I wonder, would it be easy or hard to keep trusting in God? Why? I wonder, can you trust God and keep your light shining in the hard times? How? Sometimes really bad things happen in life. Maybe something happens that really upsets you. Maybe something happens to your friends or to your family, or maybe it's just really hard to feel happy sometimes. But even in those times, we can trust in God, and we can remember all of those promises that we keep talking about. Promises that God says He'll love us, that He'll never leave us, that He'll comfort us, that He'll protect us, that He'll keep us safe, and that He will always be faithful to us. We can remember all those things in those really, really dark times. And that's how our light can keep shining for Him. So, I hope you've had a good time thinking about some of the ways that you might keep your light shining. So if you want to carry on playing around with a torch and a dark piece of material, you can keep doing that and thinking about that. Or if you're colouring or doing something else, you can keep doing that. But I'm just going to pray for you before we sing our last song. Dear Jesus, thank you that you are always with us and that we can always trust in you. I pray that you will help us to trust in you like Joseph did, even in the really hard times. Amen. Amen.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Mandy,
Yeah.
do you want to hear another song from the musical?
Yes.
Right, are you ready for this? Are you guys ready for this? Let's stand up. Here we go.
You think we need to turn the light out
Why?
so that you can see my light?
Oh, okay. Right, okay. Hang on.
Quickly! Yes, now it's
Here we go.
really bright.
Right.
Are you ready for Phil's song?
Ready, here we go. I closed my eyes, drew back the curtain to see for certain what I thought I knew. Far, far away, someone was weeping, but the world was sleeping. Any dream will do. Thank you.
Yay, well done, Phil. Well
Love
done.
that. It's great.
Take a bow.
Thank you. I'm blinding me at the same time.
Thanks for joining us today for Kids Church, and remember to trust in God.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys. Bye.